Rocket Raccoon has the highest win rate of any strategist in Marvel Rivals right now. Here's 5 tips to maximize his output and minimize his weaknesses in your competitive games. So let's have a bit of a deep dive into Rocket. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? How can you utilize those? Obviously, he has a lot of kind of upsides and a few downsides. I think he's obviously a very strong character right now, which is reflected in his very high win rate, which is, I think, is around 55% in competitive across all ranks. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be jumping on Rocket right now, getting that free LP, and just climbing. Me personally, from almost every character in the game, I have the highest amount of games played on Rocket, so he is a character that I do really enjoy. And I think I also, like, when you just want to jump on Marvel Rivals, but you don't want the stress of, like, you know, a magic or a character that needs to get up in enemy's face, that has to be dealing, like, with loads of different stuff going on at the same time. Rocket's kind of nice when you just want to jump on, kind of chill a bit. Don't get me wrong, it can get quite stressful when you're getting focused by, you know, enemy Black Panthers or Spider-Man or whoever it may be. It can get a little bit hairy, but overall speaking, is quite a nice champion to play. And mechanically, you don't really need too much skill. Obviously, aim always helps, but yeah, if you're new to the game, I really recommend maybe playing a bit of Rocket just to get used to how the game feels, you know, how the game plays. So yeah, here's 5 tips how to improve Rocket Raccoon. So tip number 1 is going to be efficiently healing and managing your placement of your revive. So obviously, Rocket's kind of core purpose is to heal. He has insane healing output. He might not have the kind of speed healing that like a Cloak and Dagger might have or a Lunar Star might have. But what he does have is the fact that he can heal every single teammate at once. If the teammates are close together and lined up, it will heal all of them. And it is quite a significant heal. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not a super quick and high one, but it is a very good heal over time. So if you have a lot of teammates that are on the ground and close to each other, you can get so much healing at once. I mean, there is no reason why you shouldn't be always getting the highest healing in the match, unless maybe there's an enemy Rocket on their team, and if you're stomping hard, he'll probably heal more just because they're losing more health. But yeah, so in terms of healing, you need to be positioning so that your heals are hitting as many people as possible. Obviously, you should be focusing your tanks, but because of the fact that the healing doesn't stack, feel free to, you know, shoot one healing ball at your tanks and then one healing ball at your DPS. Make sure everyone is benefiting from your heals at the same time. So timing is really key. Like, don't overheal your teammates when they don't need it. You need to prioritize tanks and frontliners first, but don't forget your DPS, especially when you're in the middle of team fights, because they also need your support, you know, to get across the line and kill the enemy. So yeah. Secondly, the placement of your revive. Your revive is such an important part of your kit. It does get a little bit overlooked. In lower ELOs, you'll see people just throw it like in front of them. Do not do that. Once you get used to the maps, get used to placing them in areas that don't have high frequency. Now, as you rank up, you'll come up against, you know, Black Panthers, Spider-Man's, Magic, any kind of assassins that they will look for them if they know that you're playing Rocket. But just try, you know, they will get destroyed from time to time. Something I also do sometimes, if I'm going into a big fight, I actually hold my revive. And when I see someone getting low, I kind of throw it to a side because they'll get revived like very soon. Like if they die, if you throw it and then they die, they'll get revived. If they die and then you quickly throw it after, they won't. So if you time it right, you can almost guarantee your revive, which is really crucial. But yeah, try and find some areas. Once you're used to the maps, if you're not already used to the maps, try and find some areas that are a little bit kind of quiet, incognito. Just throw it down and get back to the fight. It needs to be in the vicinity. If people die too far away from it, they won't get revived. So it needs to be kind of close to the fight. It does have quite a big range, but just try and put it around a corner or, you know, where people won't be, just to make sure it doesn't get destroyed. If it does, it is what it is. You know, there's not much you can do, but just keep that placement in the back of your mind. Like, don't just be throwing it in front of yourself because it's just a waste. It's going to get destroyed. So yeah. So yeah, as I said, Rocket's healing is all about like sustained healing, keeping everyone like healthy. You know, you're not going to burst heal them. It's going to be maintaining health across your team. So do keep that in mind. Okay, so tip number 2, stay mobile and avoid enemy focus. Now, Rocket is obviously a squishy champion. He's 250 HP, and you will be focused by enemy assassins, like I said, Spider-Man, Black Panther, etc. But he's small, he's slippery, he can run on walls, he can dash, and when you're landing from height, he can come down very slowly, like sort of hover down, which is really, really crucial. So, enemies will target you as a key healer as part of your team. You need to use constant movement and Rocket's agility to make yourself hard to hit. How can you do this? So, I'm going to give you a little bit of kind of advice from how I've been playing. I usually try and stay in the back line of fights, and then when I need to, you know, I either use my rocket up in like my left shift into the sky to dash up and then hover down slowly, so I'm much harder to hit. Sometimes you can dash towards your team. If you're like too far away, you can dash towards your team to get some protection. Now, if your dashes are on cooldown, I just sprint up a wall. Or, you know, try and dodge, what's it called, zigzag up a wall, and then jump off the wall and try and hover down until my next jump is back up. So you can practice a little bit, you know, whether you want to practice in like a custom game or just on quick play. Rocket is really agile and fast at climbing up walls. So make sure you make use of that. I mean, it's really strong. And I think a lot of other healers don't have that kind of survivability that he has. So really make use of that. It's really key. Okay, tip number 3, best positioning for Rocket. So you never want to be too close to your front line, of course, because you'll get, you know, killed with enemies throwing all their attacks and abilities on your tanks. You don't want to get caught up in that. At the same time, you don't want to be too far back, because then you leave yourself as easy prey for enemy assassins. So when possible, use high ground. You know, you kind of want to go undercover. You don't want to be, like, noticed very much, you know. If you can get, like, a high ground and no one's looking at you, and you can just heal your teammates from above and hit as many of them, like, cover as many of them as possible with your heals, you are going to be so good. But as you get higher on, they're going to know that you're healing them. They're going to know you're a problem. Because, to be honest, if you're getting loads of heals off, your team is just going to stomp. Like, it's really OP, hence the high win rate. But yeah, try and get high ground whenever possible. Stick with your main tank or another DPS for protection. So yeah, obviously positioning is really key. You know, you want to position yourself as safe as you can. If you get into heat, jump up in the air, you know, climb up a wall. Just make yourself as much as a nuisance as possible and make yourself as hard to hit as possible. Okay. Tip number 4. Your damage. Use your damage when necessary. Rocket has really high DPS, especially at close range with your minigun. So I actually, when I started playing Rocket, you know, I saw this guy on YouTube that was called No Damage Rocket. He was just healing, never using his left click at all. But as I start to play Rocket, I start to realize, okay, I can really hit hard with Rocket. I mean, sometimes these, you know, these might be sometimes maybe bad players, or it might just be a lucky situation where the enemy misses everything. But sometimes I find myself 1v1ing enemy DPS with Rocket. And one thing I've noticed, especially in the last few games, when I've been coming up against characters like The Thing, he's got such a big head. When he's been kind of running at me, I've just been spraying into his head at close range, and I've pretty much almost like insta-killed the Thing, you know, who's a tank. Like, you have a really surprising amount of damage, so don't be afraid to fire back, you know. And if you see your teams are like winning fights and you look around, they're all quite healthy, because your left click and right click use the same reload, don't be afraid to like just fire out a clip, you know. And obviously you need to keep eye of your teammates' health while doing this, but don't be afraid to jump in the action. Like if you're close to the front line or you're in the middle and you see like some of their some of the opposition overextending, don't be afraid to just unleash your clip into them. And I think you'd be surprised how much damage you can do. Now, with Rocket, you're not going to end up with 20k damage at the end of the game, but you can deal some really important damage. You know, you can really finish people off, you know, help finish off low health enemies if your team's struggling, or try and weave in some shots in between healing to kind of maximize your impact in fights. So yeah, he really can offer quite a lot in terms of damage. So do keep that in mind, and don't be afraid to test it. Test out the damage. You know, I've noticed at squishies, if you can get headshots, because you're low, sometimes it can be easier to hit them. You can really damage them down. Yeah, and I've noticed enemy tanks, you can really shred them sometimes. You know, if the healers are not looking or they're not paying attention, you can really deal a lot of damage. So do get involved. And then tip number 5 is going to be team synergy and best hero pairings. So obviously Rocket's got a couple of team ups. He has with Groot, and he also has with Punisher and Winter Soldier. Now, the team up with Winter Soldier and Punisher is really, really strong. Do not be afraid. Or you know, when you see Punisher and Winter Soldier, it's really good with Rocket. Like, really pay attention to where they are and try and give them the best placement of the power-ups, because I've played both Punisher and Winter Soldier with Rocket before, and it's really strong, the boost for them. I mean, Winter Soldier basically gets unlimited ammo. He can like spam his left click, which does a lot of damage. And Punisher also gets unlimited ammo and a much higher like fire rate, so he can also dish out loads of damage, especially in his shotgun. It's crazy. So yeah, look out for that. Pair Rocket with Groot for strong survivability and area control. Obviously, you can like jump on top of Groot and sit on him, which is strong. Be careful, because good enemies will target you even when you're on top of Groot. So when I have a Groot on my team, I like to see kind of how deep the Groot's going. If I see the Groot is really overextending, maybe I jump off for a little bit and heal from the back. But then when he takes some, you know, when I start taking some heat at the back line, I jump back on. It's really good because when you're on top of Groot, every heal you shoot heals Groot no matter what. So you can heal Groot and aim your healing at other teammates to make the most out of it. But yeah, Rocket works really well with tanks and dive heavy heroes that need constant healing. So yeah, keep that in mind. Also, you can support mobile DPS heroes like Spider-Man, who can benefit from Rocket's healing while still staying aggressive. I find in general, in terms of team synergy, he works better with characters that are like more on the ground, because you can position yourself so that your healing orbs are hitting everyone in your team, or like the majority of your team at once, so you're healing everyone, which not many healers can do. And you know, if you have like a Storm and a Human Torch on your team, and then maybe like a Venom, and then like maybe a Magneto, something like that, it can be really difficult looking around trying to heal everyone at once. So just keep that in mind, you know, that he does work best with I guess people that are just easier in your line of sight. Like if you can get at the back and get everyone in your line of sight at once, you can just heal so much. But yeah, when you've got different, like, sort of, if you've got people flying around, it can be difficult to hit all of them at once. So you need to just be looking around a lot more. Be sure to get the crosshair for Rocket that you can see I'm using at the moment, because what this does is when the enemies are running left or right, you can aim on that side of the crosshair and it will guarantee to hit them, because he has a bit of a slower bullet travel, so you need to kind of sync it up so that you can guarantee your hits. And one other thing, if you see like an enemy going around the back, like trying to, you know, get behind you, and you know like, oh, I've placed my revive on that route, you can press E to take the revive back. So like you can take it back, has like a 5-second cooldown, whereas if they destroy it, we'll have like a 45-second cooldown. So if you know it's likely to get destroyed, just take it back and put it somewhere else, so you still get the use out of it. So yeah, final thoughts is that, you know, Rocket's got a really high win rate right now. Try and take the tips I mentioned in this video. I know it might be a lot of information at once, especially if you've not played him before, but just feel him out, have a go, make sure you're obviously getting your healing output as much as possible. I really enjoy playing Rocket, and I guess it's a bit harsh to call him a brain dead champion, because there is a high skill level, because once you get higher up you need to be dodging, but sometimes it is fun just to hop on Rocket and just stay at the back and just, you know, keep all your teammates healthy. Let them obliterate everyone and just pick up some free wins. So, yeah, it's really strong right now. I do think it's a great pick. So, yeah, please do like and subscribe if you found the tips helpful. Comment your favorite tip, what I mentioned, or something maybe you didn't know before. And if you have any future characters you'd like me to make a guide on, please do let me know. And yeah, join the community. I'm going to be posting a lot more Marvel Rivals shorts and longer videos going in depth about, you know, different characters, how you can kind of rank up your gameplay on them. And yeah, you know, we're trying to build a helpful community here for all ranks. You know, let's improve. That's the main goal. So yeah. Please do let me know what you think. If you've got any tips for me as well, greatly appreciate it. And yeah, any comments, feel free to share in the comments below. Help with the algorithm a bit. And I'll see you all in the next video. So yeah, have a great day. Wish you all the best on your next games. And yeah, all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Judge, jury, executioner!